The Philadelphia Eagles went down to Tampa and walked away not only with a win, but with a powerful message to the rest of the NFL. This team is undefeated through 4 weeks, but more than that, they're showing they can win in a variety of ways, even when things aren't clicking on all cylinders. The defense stole the spotlight this time around, with Quinyon Mitchell putting together arguably the best performance of his young career, and Jayad Campbell making a game-changing play late that helped seal the victory. But let's be honest, this was another classic case of two completely different halves from the Eagles. One side dominant, the other frustrating. And at the center of that offensive inconsistency is quarterback Jalen Hurts, who was lights out in stretches but also struggled with execution and rhythm. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. A.J. Brown clearly isn't happy with the way things are going on offense. But before diving into what needs to change, let's give credit where credit is due. This wasn't just any win. This was a gritty, hard-earned road victory against a tough Tampa Bay team that's had the Eagles' number in the past. Think back to how brutal some of those previous matchups in Tampa have been. This one felt different. From the very beginning, the Eagles came out swinging, opening the game with a massive momentum shift. A blocked punt, scooped, and scored by Sidney Brown after Cam Latu exploded through for the deflection. That kind of energy early on immediately set the tone, and you could see how fired up the team, and even Nick Sirianni on the sideline, was from that moment. That play alone gave off the vibe that this wasn't going to be a repeat of past disappointments in Tampa. What followed was one of the most complete first halves we've seen from Philly this year. After forcing a 3-and-out, the Eagles took the ball and marched straight down the field, with Jalen Hurts making plays through the air and on the ground, including a gutsy scramble that set up 1st and goal. The drive ended with a slick underhand shovel pass to Dallas Goedert for the touchdown. And just like that, it was 14-0. After a brief hiccup on the next drive, the offense turned right back up, connecting on a strike up the seam to Dallas again, followed by a nice chunk gained to Grant Calcaterra, and eventually a brilliant 3rd down scramble from Hurts, who found Devonta Smith for a key conversion. Once again, Hurts finished it off with another shovel pass TD to Goedert, giving the Eagles a 21-3 lead and all the momentum in the world. They closed the half strong with a field goal from Jake Elliott, and the scoreboard read 24-3. Tampa managed to knock in a wild 65-yarder before halftime. But even with that, the first half was clearly all Philly. Jalen Hurts looked like the MVP candidate fans know he can be, going 15 of 16, no turnovers, 2 touchdowns, and over 170 total yards. His passer rating was an absurd 140.1. The offense had answers for the blitz, opened up the middle of the field, and everything looked fluid. This was the kind of performance that made people think Philly might have finally found their offensive rhythm. But then, just like we've seen before, the second half was a completely different story. The aggressiveness disappeared. The creativity vanished. And suddenly, it looked like the same offense that sputtered in the first half against the Rams the previous week. 6 of the Eagles' 7 drives in the second half ended in punts. 5 of those were 3-and-outs. That's not just bad. That's flat out unacceptable for a team with this much talent. The passing game got stale. The running game continued to struggle, as it has all season. And the play calling? Predictable, conservative, and completely uninspiring. Now, we could sit here and say it's just one bad half, but when the trend keeps repeating itself, it becomes a problem. And it's a problem that's clearly wearing on some of the players. Most notably, A.J. Brown. After finishing the game with just 2 catches for 7 yards despite being targeted 9 times, Brown took to social media and posted a message that made his frustration crystal clear. If you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene. Shrug your shoulders and be on your way. That's not exactly subtle. Whether it's about his role in the offense, how he's being used, or the overall lack of production on that side of the ball, he's clearly not happy. And honestly, it's hard to blame him. This is one of the best wide receivers in the entire league. He should be a focal point. And when you've got that kind of weapon, you need to find ways to get him involved. It's not just about targets. It's about meaningful usage. But while the offense was sputtering and the wideouts were growing frustrated, the defense held strong. And then some. Let's talk about Quinyon Mitchell. From the very first drive, this guy was absolutely locked in. Matched up against two really solid receivers in Emeka Egbuka and Chris Godwin, Q turned in a shutdown performance. 9 targets his way, just 2 catches allowed, only 6 total yards given up, 5 pass breakups, and a career-high PFF grade of 90.2. He was sticky in coverage, physical when needed, and constantly around the football. Whether it was breaking up passes downfield, closing quickly on underneath routes, or flipping his hips to stay step for step with elite route runners, Mitchell put on a clinic. And he wasn't alone. Cooper DeJean, Mitchell's fellow rookie, also turned in a phenomenal performance. He led the team with 9 total tackles, 8 of them solo, and added 2 pass breakups of his own, one of which was nearly a highlight reel interception. What made his outing even more impressive was the fact that he was asked to play outside corner in base packages due to injuries. And he didn't just hold his own, he excelled. For a guy that versatile, that dependable, and that technically sound, the sky's the limit. Suddenly, what was once viewed as a weakness in the Eagles' secondary is turning into a legitimate strength. And that is a game-changer for this defense moving forward. As for Jayad Campbell, despite giving up a long touchdown earlier in the game, he showed what short memory and mental toughness look like. Late in the fourth quarter, with Tampa threatening to tie the game, Campbell came up with the defensive play of the game, an interception in the end zone after Reed Blankenship tipped the pass. That takeaway halted the Bucs' momentum and put the Eagles back in control. Campbell ended up being the 3rd highest graded defender on the team at 85.4. And it's becoming clear that this rookie is developing into something special. He's instinctive, aggressive, and keeps showing up in big moments. Later on, the Eagles' defense continued to come up big, with a forced fumble on Bucky Irving by Jix Hunt, recovered by Khalil Ringo. That takeaway gave Philly a short field and led to a creative touchdown on a fake, brotherly shove play that saw Saquon Barkley take it in for 6. And when the game was on the line one last time, Moro Ojomo got home for a clutch sack that pushed the Bucs out of scoring range. On 4th down, Perry Nickerson made the final stop, and from there the clock ran out. Now, make no mistake, this was not a perfect game. Far from it. But it was a statement game. It was a reminder that this Eagles team can win ugly, they can win tough, and they can beat good teams on the road even when they're not playing their best. They've got issues to clean up on offense. The run game still hasn't clicked. The play calling needs more variety and urgency. And they absolutely need to get A.J. Brown more involved in meaningful ways. But at the same time, they're 4-0. They're undefeated, and they've shown that they're not going to beat themselves. That's what great teams do. Looking ahead, the Eagles have every reason to feel confident about where they stand, but also plenty of motivation to fix what's clearly holding them back. Sitting at 4 wins and 0 losses is no small feat, especially considering the schedule they've had to navigate through. But the truth is, they haven't played their best football yet. That's the part that should scare the rest of the league. They're winning games, even when things aren't clicking offensively. And that speaks volumes about the identity this team is trying to build. But if they really want to make a deep postseason run, if they want to live up to the expectations that come with being a legitimate contender, they can't afford to keep playing this brand of inconsistent football. Something's got to give, especially on offense. Let's go back to the running game, because it continues to be a major issue. Through 4 games, it's just not been there. The offensive line, usually one of the Eagles' biggest strengths, hasn't played up to its usual dominant level, particularly in the run-blocking department. And Jordan Mailata said it himself. This team has to be better up front. If they're seeing loaded boxes every week, then it's time to adjust. Whether that's dialing up more play action, using motion to spread out the defense, or simply being more creative with formations and personnel, they have to find answers. Because right now, the Eagles are constantly 1 block away from a big gain, and 1 block away might as well be a mile in the NFL. It kills momentum. It kills drives. And more importantly, it puts pressure on Jalen Hurts to make magic every time they need a spark. Speaking of Hurts, his play continues to be a roller coaster. We've seen flashes of brilliance, no doubt. In the first half against Tampa, he was carving up the defense. Confident, accurate, in total command. But then he comes out in the third quarter and looks completely out of rhythm. It's not all on him. The protection wasn't perfect, the play calling got stale, and the run game gave him no help. But when you're the face of the franchise, you carry the weight. Hurts knows that, and you can see that he wants to be the guy who puts this team on his back. But in order to do that, he needs the coaches to put him in better positions. When the offense goes into a shell in the second half, it limits his ability to improvise and create plays. This team has to trust him to go win games, not just manage them. And of course, one of the biggest storylines continues to be A.J. Brown and his role in this offense. Let's be clear, Brown didn't just randomly post that message on social media. That came from somewhere. That came from real frustration. And it's not just about one game. It's a build-up. A player of his caliber wants to impact the game. And when the offense stalls the way it did against Tampa, it's hard not to see why he's upset. He's getting the targets, sure, but what are they doing with them? Are they scheming ways to get him open? Are they moving him around, letting him work against mismatches, creating space over the middle? Or are they just throwing his way because they feel like they have to? There's a difference between featuring a receiver and just throwing him the ball. Right now, the Eagles are doing the latter. And if they want to maximize their offensive potential, that has to change. A.J. Brown isn't just a good wide receiver. He's one of the best in the game. He should be a problem for defenses every single week. Another area that needs serious improvement is situational football. Third downs, red zone efficiency, and second-half adjustments have all been inconsistent. Against Tampa, the Eagles came out with a beautiful game plan in the first half. They were aggressive, attacked the middle of the field, took shots, and had the Bucs defense on their heels. But after halftime, it felt like they were just trying to protect the lead rather than extend it. That kind of mindset is dangerous in this league, where momentum can flip in an instant. The defense bailed them out, but you can't rely on that every week. Great teams step on the gas. They close games out. They don't play not to lose. They play to win. And if the Eagles want to take that next step, they have to adopt that mentality on offense. Defensively, though, this team is starting to turn a corner. The young secondary is coming into its own, and it's happening faster than anyone expected. Quinyon Mitchell looks like a future All-Pro. Cooper DeJean is doing everything, covering, tackling, flying to the ball. Jayad Campbell is flashing big playability. And veterans like Reed Blankenship are providing stability and leadership on the back end. Up front, the pass rush is getting home when it matters most. Jix Hunt continues to be a disruptive force, and players like Moro Ojomo and Kali Ringo are stepping up in key moments. This defense is fast, physical, and starting to develop an identity. That alone gives the Eagles a real chance to contend deep into the season, even if the offense is still finding itself. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Shockwaves are rippling through the NFL community today as the league announced the cancellation of the highly anticipated matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Sources close to the situation claim that new images have surfaced, allegedly proving what some are calling a blatant theft that could be the most scandalous in recent league history. The NFL, usually tight-lipped about internal controversies, confirmed the game will not take place, citing extraordinary circumstances, but offered few details beyond that cryptic statement. Fans, players, and analysts alike are scrambling to make sense of the sudden decision. Social media platforms have been flooded with theories, speculations, and outrage. Some claim the images show tampering with critical equipment, while others suggest potential violations of league rules during practice sessions. Nobody has been able to verify the authenticity of these images independently, but their mere existence has already stirred intense debate. Pundits are questioning whether the league will investigate further or if this is a preemptive measure to avoid a deeper scandal. For Tampa Bay, a team that has been riding high with recent strong performances, this abrupt cancellation comes as a shock. Meanwhile, Philadelphia, which was preparing to showcase its new strategies under a revamped lineup, now faces uncertainty not just about the postponed game, but about the ripple effects across the rest of the season. Some insiders hint that this incident could have long-term implications for both teams' playoff prospects, especially if sanctions or further disruptions are announced. Meanwhile, fans have turned to forums, memes, and viral videos, dissecting every angle of the leaked images. Debates rage over whether the supposed robbery involves on-field decisions, behind-the-scenes manipulations, or even financial misdeeds. One thing is certain: the NFL rarely experiences such explosive speculation, and the timing, so close to a pivotal mid-season clash, has only intensified the frenzy. As the league braces for questions from the press and anxious supporters, one lingering question dominates every discussion: what really happened between the Buccaneers and the Eagles? Until the NFL releases more concrete information, the rumor mill will continue spinning, and fans will keep wondering whether this cancellation marks the beginning of one of the most dramatic controversies in recent NFL memory. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.